What's going on, folks? Welcome back to the show, and today it's Bedhead Spite here, bringing you a very interesting special guest, the Kawasaki ZX6R. Today we are taking this thing out for a full day in the saddle review, but I wanted to break down my raw first impressions for you in a separate video. We'll talk about why in just a second, but in the meantime, let's gear up and hit the road. Okay folks, so why am I making this as a separate video when it used to be part of my day in the saddles? Well, first of all, I wanted my day in the saddles to be a little bit more focused because, yeah, I don't think they need to be 30 minutes long. So, I also find that a lot of times I get a little bit distracted in my first rides. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try busting this out into its separate video and see what you guys think. Let me know down below with the ZX6 here if you like having the first ride vlogs separate from the day in the saddle. They'll of course be linked to each other in the cards up there. But the day in the saddle will probably come a little bit later. This is definitely going to hit the channel first. So, yeah, that's what's going on, and we are gonna go take this little beast on a ride, and then we're gonna spend all day with it for a full review, so stay tuned for that. Okie dokie. So why don't we start off here today with just a little sound check on the ZX6 here. It's got a stock pipe on there, so it's not particularly loud, and it sounds just like every other inline 4. Oh boy, every time I hop on a Super Sport I have to ask myself why, because they are so wildly aggressive in their stance, and you have to ride them the way that they want to be ridden. If you're not doing that, you're not doing it right. Alright, pulling on. We're gonna let this little car go. And let's wind it out a little bit, shall we? Yep. That's an inline 4, alright. You really gotta rev the tits off of it to get to all the power, but whew, that's fun. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the highway manners of this motorcycle here real quick before we get to a twisty road, which is, I know what you're looking for. So if I was going to give it a number, I would say it's like a 6 out of 10. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. And the reason I say that is because you know, when you're riding something like this on the highway, you actually do get a little bit of a benefit of sitting upright because the wind is coming off the dashboard, hitting you square in the chest, and it helps keep your weight off your wrists a little bit. You can actually sit up a little bit while you're riding the motorcycle, and that helps. But would I want to do this every day? Probably not. We're gonna have to see how it progresses throughout the day here, but yeah, highway manners on the ZX6 are adequate. One thing I will note though is because this has that extra 36 cubes of displacement over other, or I guess it's 37 cubes of displacement over standard inline 4s, you do actually have a good bit of mid-range punch. I'm not gonna say it's like, you know, naked bike levels or anything like that, but I mean, it's certainly better than an R6, that's for sure. As far as creature comforts go on this motorcycle, there's zero. So you really need to know what you're getting into on this thing. And you know what? That's totally fine. I think a lot of people, they come to motorcycles as their goof-off toy, and they don't intend to commute on a bike this aggressive. If you wanted something practical, you'd get an MT-09. But this is literally just a weekend toy. And since it's a weekend toy, let's get it on any good weekend destination, a nice twisty road. And let's see how it feels, shall we? Wow! Oh, guys, you get one of these things on the side of the tire, it is freaking glorious. Oh my God. You know, one of the things you realize about riding a sport bike, especially on the street, at least for me, is it's like, what's the point? You know, what is the point? Because these things only feel good. They only feel good if you're absolutely riding the pants off of them. You know, I'm going through these corners at a good bit better clip than I normally would, just because the bike is so freaking capable, man. These things are unbelievable weapons when it comes to going fast. And you end up, just because the bike is so good, you end up riding faster. Especially, you know, if you bring a couple of little techniques in, like, you know, trail braking and stuff like that, and shifting your weight in the seat, you can really just get to stitch together corners a lot. And I totally understand why people love these things. I absolutely get it. These things are freaking awesome. Holy cow. Like, just, you know, you get into a turn and they settle out perfectly, and you just move your weight around. These things are, oh man, are they good. Man, are they good. Whew. Oh, there's gonna be a lot of squidding today. Oh, and I know Ben put good tires on this before he sold it. The tires on here are quite nice. You really feel everything, especially now that they've got a little heat in them. God, what a nice way to go through some corners. Okay, with that glowing bit out of the way, let's talk a little bit about some of the specifics that I'm feeling on this motorcycle. Because a lot of people, I think, a lot of people come to bikes like the 600 class, and they hear people say, oh, they're all the same, and I used to think they were all the same too. But they're really not. I gotta remember this thing has a quick shifter. Last time I was on a ZX6, it didn't have a quick shifter. Into the corner we go. Oh, what? There we go. Oh man, it is so hard to just not ride this thing like a buffoon. Oh, it's so hard. Oh man, when a bike just makes you laugh like that, you know you're having a good time. But I will say I am having this good time on its terms, not on mine. Oh, guys. Okay. Yeah, okay, so some specifics on this motorcycle that make it really unique, in my opinion, are those extra cubes of displacement. It really does feel like, you know, the Cheater 600 here is doing a lot of extra work that other bikes don't. It's surprisingly torquey in the mid-range, and you gotta remember, guys, that the mid-range on a 600 like this is gigantic. It's huge. There is so much mid-range on here. It's like 6,000 to 11 or 12,000 RPM. The peak power on these bikes, they don't come in till way, way late. And it really sucks. It really, really sucks to only have like 30 foot-pounds of torque. Because, yeah, the R6 has like 45 or 48 peak. It doesn't get that way till like 10 grand. And it might rev up pretty quick, but it doesn't rev up that quick. So especially here on the street where it's hard to keep one of these bikes on the boil, I really do appreciate that extra punch. The brakes are also feeling phenomenal on this. They're exactly the way I'd want them to feel. 1 to 2 on the quick shifter. That was a little bit rough. It was just like there was a little bit extra lag there. That was interesting. This kind of feels like my old VFR's quick shifter, where you basically went 1-2 with the clutch, and then you can quick shift everything else. All right, let's have a little fun, shall we? Oh, God. That's why people ride these motorcycles, man. And I wasn't even getting to the very peak of the power band. There's actually a surprising amount of power on this motorcycle. God, this is fun. This is real fun. This is the addicting kind of fun where you know you're just gonna get yourself in trouble. Like you're gonna be going through a corner and you're gonna be like, oh, I know this corner super, super well. I've ridden it 1,000 times on my other motorcycles, and now I've got this ZX6, and I'm gonna go a little bit faster through it. And then on the other side, there's gonna be a cop. The first time you do it on the ZX6, there's gonna be a cop waiting right there, and he's gonna be like, oh, this stupid squid. And then he's gonna hit the sirens, and you're gonna get a ticket. I think you know, that's just what's gonna end up happening. This elicits that kind of energy when you ride it. It's actually, I don't think it elicits it. I think it demands it, honestly. And you know, that can be fun, but that's not really what I come to motorcycling for. I like to have a good time on my own time. But I will tell you, going through this long sweeper there, ooh, it gets on a line and it holds the line so good. It holds that line so well. Holy cow. It is going to be a fun day. But, you know, I can already feel that this thing ain't perfect. So, to start kind of wrapping my thoughts up on this thing, you know, the quick and dirty is, this is a motorcycle that is all about having a fun time doing that. And if you're not doing that, you're not having a ton of fun. So, I don't know. It doesn't really feel all that streetable to me, but this bike does have almost 4,000 miles on it. So my buddy did ride this thing, and I know he took it to the track. So I guess some people out there, they just really like that 600 experience. Well, folks, there you have it. Those are my initial impressions on the ZX6R. This thing, it's fun, but it's a very, very particular kind of fun, and I am going to be spending the rest of the day with this motorcycle. I have a big ride planned, and we're going to see how the whole opinion progresses as I ride this thing more and more. And in that review, we're really going to answer the question whether or not you can ride one of these things and have fun if it's just your street bike. Because not everybody takes these motorcycles to the track, believe it or not. So if you are interested in checking that full review out, there will be a link down below when it goes live. It'll probably be out in like a week or two. And if you want to get yourself this beautiful ZX6R, all the information is down in the description below as well. And I will catch you guys in the next one. See you later.